Welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development. I am Flora Ani, your housing diva. As humanity celebrates women in this year's International Women's Day on March 8th, it is important for us to celebrate many fabulous women for their impressive careers and achievements across the housing and mortgage sector. What challenges the women in the housing and construction industry face, and what risk is associated with their job. I will be speaking with some amazing women today, but first let's see what is trending in the housing sector on our news decks. Stay tuned.
The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has stated that his government is committed to unleashing infrastructural development in Rivers State. He made this known at the inauguration of Rumoje Iba Obele Isokbo Road. He said the logic behind it is to create a conducive environment that offers the people of Rivers State more opportunities to actualize their potentials. At the inauguration of the road project in Port Harcourt was former Jigawa State Governor Alhaji Sule Lamido. He expressed delight that the development projects in Rivers State are not only executed in Port Harcourt City alone, but in hinterland of Rivers State. At the inauguration of the road project in Port Harcourt was former Jigawa State Governor Alhaji Sule Lamido. He expressed delight that development projects in Rivers State are not only executed in Port Harcourt City alone, but in hinterland of Rivers State. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has given a 7-day ultimatum to business organizations operating in Maitama to vacate the highbrow district and relocate to the Central Business District or risk being sealed. This was declared by the Acting Director, Department of Development Control, Garba Kwamo, after a visit to some commercial areas of the city. He said the department will forward a list of suspected offenders to the FCT Police Commissioner to track and prosecute as specified by the law. Brains and Harmers Limited has pulled through an 8 billion naira investment from the private capital markets. The 8 billion naira Sukuk funding was made possible by an association of lenders in the private sector and backed by ARM and Fidelity Bank. This funding further puts the company on course to deliver on its aggressive growth plan in making affordable housing available across the country. Adibola Shaidu, chairman of Brains and Harmers, expressed his delight at the Sukuk investment, noting that it represents a voice of confidence in his company. He added that the project is also well positioned to create over 1,000 direct, indirect, and ancillary jobs during construction and upon its completion, thereby creating a large-scale economic impact beyond the provision of affordable housing and infrastructure. The company's hospitality, residential, commercial, and infrastructural portfolio is covering thousands of acres of land in urban, suburban, and satellite communities in Kano, Abuja, and Lagos, the commercial capitals of Nigeria. A member of the World Bank Group, International Finance Cooperation (IFC), has announced an investment in the Savannah Fund, a leading technology seed fund in Africa, which is focused on supporting women entrepreneurs and disruptive companies in high-growth sectors. The fund will provide early-stage funding to startups in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, with an eye on expansion to Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Uganda in East Africa, as well as Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana in West Africa. It will invest in companies that support development at the bottom of the pyramid. Ombwana Ali, Savannah's fund managing partner, said Savannah Fund 2 will continue its long-term mission to partner with ambitious founders building startups that will scale across Africa.
Preservative surpasses all preventive measures designed to permanently prevent the damage and quality reduction of wood and wood-based materials by termites, fungi, bacteria, and other boring insects. Use Timberlock Premium Wood Preservative to prevent, correct, and defend wood and wood materials against deformities caused by termites and other insects in the later days. Timberlock is designed to solve wood preservation challenges with a standard you can trust. Timberlock Wood Preservative kills termites instantly. Timberlock Wood Preservative, the wood preservative brand leader in Africa.
The construction industry is typically a male-dominated one and presents a major challenge for equal opportunities for women. The Nigerian construction sector has a particular low participation rate for women, but in recent years, it is clear that women are beginning to cut through the industry that only was once dominated by men. Women are hitting it hard on every sector of the economy. What challenges do women in the construction industry face, and how can these barriers be addressed? The Director General of Federation of Construction Industry will enlighten us in this report.
The Nigerian construction industry has a low rate of women participation. Research shows that despite increases in the number of women employed in construction over the past years, they still constitute less than 22% of the workforce. It is believed that women in construction are confronted by a significant number of barriers. Is this really the case? Engineer Olubunmi Adekoje, Director General, Federation of Construction Industry, believes women are making progress in the construction industry, but more can still be done. She says being in the industry for a woman is a matter of interest.
I think sometimes it could be almost a misconception that not many women, we might be fewer than men, but women are there. There are a substantial number of women in the construction industry. And you find that it's a matter of interest. If people are not interested, if by nature in a particular course of study, you can't fault them. So it could be a matter of interest.
In talking about challenges women face on site, she says the nature of work at the construction site is physical, demanding, but the bulk of the handwork are done by female artisans and they are on the rise in the industry. She says the nature of the job is not a limitation for women.
You know, the nature of work on the construction site is physical. However, as one progresses, it becomes more mental. You have to go to the site, you have to do the practical. But as you rise, your career can change. Your career can progress. You become it is more of a mental work in the office, directing others. But you cannot direct if you don't actually understand what goes on the site.
Female resource represents about half of Nigeria's human resources. For optimal utilization of human resources, gender equality and equity, it is considered that women should be adequately represented in the construction industry, which is the prime motivator of the country's economy. How can this be achieved?
A woman exerts physical energy in every sphere of her life. A woman is a wife, she's a mother, she's a teacher at the home, she's a cleaner, she's a caregiver for her ill parents. Women are strong naturally and they can multitask. So I don't see the physical nature of a job being a disadvantage to the women. It is the interest that matters.
It is believed that if the right attention is paid to enlightening and empowering women, the participation of women in the industry will increase over time.
I'm Debbie Erb. I work for OPIC in the United States, and keep watching the Affordable Housing Development Program.
is worthy to note that the increasing influx of talented women into the real estate sector has led to vibrant intellectual contributions to the growth of the industry. Real estate sector is no longer a male affair as women have started proving their worth in the industry. Even in the business world, women are creating self-made businesses that have grown to become empires. I had a chat with some amazing women in the housing industry. Stay tuned as we unfold these interviews.
March 8th is a day set aside all over the world to celebrate women, to uphold women's achievements and also recognize their challenges. Real estate sector is no longer a male affair as women have started proving their worth in the industry, not just in Nigeria but all over the world. The involvement of women in the development of housing is increasing throughout the world. To mark the day, the Housing Development Advocacy Network brought together great Amazons in the housing industry to discuss the role of women in the promotion of affordable housing in Nigeria through a webinar platform. Guest speakers, Dr. Chi Apodji, MD, Afasities Africa, Isokin Omo, Executive Chairman, Edo Development and Property Authority, Architect Olajumoke Akinwumi, Founder, Alethea Capital, Real Estate Limited, Mrs. Medina Hoffman, Executive Director, Hydrofoam Nigeria Limited, Architect Chikere Alozie, former Head PPP, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, and QS Aderonke Oyelami, Fellow of the Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors, all gave their inputs on the role of women in the promotion of affordable housing, the challenges and how to break the barriers.
Women's access to housing in Nigeria, especially and access to housing finance. For example, how many women have received mortgages, so far in Nigeria? I couldn't find any from Mban. How many, houses, even though we don't have a universal, a critical mass of how many houses we have, but how many of them are women-headed? How many are actually owned by women, and so on? So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And it's good that we're having this webinar. Maybe this will be a good start for us to begin to really do a deep dive and look at these critical issues with a view to really helping women within Nigeria and obviously, in the other parts of the world, enhance their chances of access to housing, security of tenure, and enable them to make their contribution to the growth of their families and, of course, to national development.
The truth we all know, it's not maximizing the potential of our female folk in the family or in the country. The men should begin to consider women folk as partners in progress and allow them explore their abilities as a matter of fundamental human rights. I want to borrow a word from Mr. Milon Kotari, special rapporteur on adequate housing, to the Commission on Human Rights. Quote, a safe, secure, affordable, and appropriate house and a home is a measure of a quality of life that every human being aspires to. Every woman, child, man has a right to adequate housing as a component of the fundamental human right.
I think that a woman would generally place emphasis on the right. And that's not to discount what the gentlemen will do, because I don't think this is a conversation about men versus women. It's just to say that given the opportunity, because of the way that women are wired, we would be able to address the issues in the entire value chain. It's such a complicated ecosystem. And for me, I think the reason why it doesn't work at the moment is because there are so many broken pieces. End of the day, I mentioned that I am unapologetic about promoting the cause of women. The second part that I have to talk about is the need for us to do things collaboratively. The more that we find ourselves sitting in our silos trying to solve the little problem that we can solve, the more difficult this thing is going to become. It is already a challenge as it is. And with every passing year, I'm sure that all of us have been hearing about this 17 million shortage for 2 decades. It's not going anywhere. And I just want to also use this opportunity with all these experts to say, let's get together and let everybody bring their game to the table. This is not about, and I know I'm comfortable to say this in our midst, this is not about making money. This is really about solving a serious social and environmental problem.
There are not enough women in the built industry. So if there are not enough women, how on earth can we have affordable housing? We must do. We must not just speak, we must do. And make sure that we are heard, our voices are heard, and our actions are noted so that women can afford housing. Now, the inclusion means that you have to dare what is going on at the moment. It is a man's world, in inverted commas, but it's a woman's world as well. And we have to go out there and talk and do.
We're doing a new program that are actually targeting more of the informal sector and cooperatives, where we have a lot of these women who have some kind of structure of contribution, but they have not been able to get to the point where they can channel it towards housing purchase. So we're working with different agencies, looking at different solutions that will actually work for us, because we've come to the point where we found out from our surveys that we have a lot of single parents, mostly single mothers, from the demographics that have come out, who actually are not properly housed for several reasons. And because they're not properly housed, you find out that affects the family structure.
Basically, what affects a woman in the long run affects the family, and the family is both male and female at the end of the day. Over the years, we women have had to face many constraints in trying to balance paid work and our family responsibilities. And this has, sort of affected us in a number of ways. There have been quite a few restrictive policies, such as inflexible working hours and limited parental leave. And it has really, really affected women's mobility in the workforce. Violence against women, I know one of the earlier speakers has mentioned it in passing. It's also something else that has really restricted women's economic and social potential, and has actually more or less conditioned our both physical and mental health condition, really. Many times it has led to absenteeism, missed promotions, even job losses, because we've not been able to keep up. And I know that most times women, even including myself, we feel shy to speak out and utilize our talents a lot. And this attitude is more or less as a result of, I think, will they listen? We're in a men's world, so to say, in quotes. I'd like to put that in quotes, in parentheses. We're afraid our words won't be heard or welcomed. But the fact still remains that when we are silent, it's more or less as if we're still afraid. We need to speak out.
It is believed that being a woman in the sector of its own is already a challenge. The guest speakers used the opportunity to enjoin their male counterparts in the industry to always encourage and support more women participation in the industry, and should also consider the women folks as partners.
It's been shown from our own nature that we have a lot of attention to detail, we're resilient, and we just keep coming back. We don't give up easily. I think it comes from being a mother and all those instincts. So from the whole housing provision value chain, we have a lot of places to participate. And I would just encourage us that we keep going on. We learn to support each other, learn to be open so that at least we can share and be truthful to ourselves.
Enhance women's access to housing, it will impact, there's a multiplier effect to that. So we should work together, we should work collaboratively to really remove the barriers preventing women to reaching what they can do in the housing sector. We should remove all barriers to that. We should look towards mentorship, And we should also look towards sourcing and mining data to enable us make more informed policy decisions regarding how we can achieve this.
One of the most prominent features of your house is your roof. Your roof will tell how old your building is. At Plus World, we pride ourselves in having the expertise and products to bring your roof back to life. While other roofing companies suggest removing the roof, we restore the roof with warranty assurance. Let Plus World Roofing recoat your old and fading roofs and make your roofs brand new. Our products are eco-friendly and completely harmless to human and the environment. We offer services that will sustain your roof's integrity and by extension, your property value. This includes roof repairs and maintenance for residential, commercial, and industrial properties. Our roof restoration solution saves you up to 70% the cost of replacing your roof. Contact Plus World Roofing today.
Abuja International Housing Show.
It's about the whole of Nigeria, the whole of West Africa. You have stakeholders coming from all over and in fact globally.
It's an excellent way of bringing thought leaders, investors
to come together and figure out ways to increase capacity in developing housing.
Keep a date with Housing Development Program every week on TVC. Housing Development is the first and pioneer housing program in Nigeria and by extension Africa. It remains the authentic voice of the Nigerian housing and construction industry. Housing Development is the only credible and specialized platform for seasoned professionals in the build industry, where quality and credible players in the real estate sector meet to interact, showcase, and analyze government policies. It is no doubt that hundreds of thousands of prospective Nigerians who desire to own their personal properties have done so through the assistance of Housing Development Program in the last 10 years. If you are a stakeholder in the build industry, here is where you must be. We are authentic, credible, and supported by all the leading professionals in the build industry. Housing Development on TVC.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing Development Program, on Twitter, Housing Program, on Instagram at Housing Program. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Remember, the most important thing we can do is to support each other as women. When women support each other, incredible things happen. The men should also learn to support the women because they are your mothers, sisters, wives, and daughters. Let's help to create a more gender-balanced world. On that note, I call it a wrap on today's edition of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. Do stay safe out there.